The weapon of both the Jedi and Sith, the lightsaber carried enormous significance to its wielder, being tied to them through the Force itself. The colour of a lightsaber represented the wielder's personality, affiliation to the Force, and even their chosen discipline within the Jedi Order. In today's video, you can find out which lightsaber colour best suits you. But before we get into the quiz, let's explore the meaning of every single lightsaber colour. First, there's my personal favourite lightsaber colour, red. Red lightsabers were produced in a somewhat slightly different manner than other lightsabers. Legend states that red lightsabers use synthetic crystals created by the dark side of the Force. The Sith utilized Force-imbued furnaces and strange rituals to produce many thousands of these crystals for their empire during the days of the Old Republic. This dark secret was passed down through the generations and was unsurprisingly banned by the Jedi Order. It is also worth noting that these synthetic crystals were slightly more powerful than other lightsaber colors. There was even a chance that the searing energy running through a red blade could short out an opponent's lightsaber, although this very rarely happened. In Canon, crimson blades were created by bleeding a kyber crystal. The Sith used this procedure to pour all of their fury and rage into the crystal, rendering it scarlet red. In both canon and legends, red lightsabers signified the Sith's terrible passions of rage, hatred, greed, and above all, a thirst for unlimited power. However, in legends, there were some exceptions. Adigalia found a very rare light red lightsaber crystal and installed it into her saber. Although there is little information on naturally occurring red kyber crystals, they were usually attuned to the light side. Before we go any further though, I'm pleased to announce the next VF Saber giveaway. I'll be giving away either the Mandalorian darksaber or Dooku's lightsaber to the lucky winner. For people who've entered into my giveaways before, you know the drill. All you have to do is like, subscribe, and watch this video until the end. Then you have to comment your perfect lightsaber design down below. The most unique and interesting design will win. The last winner described a trident lightsaber with a gold hilt and 3 black blades. So basically, let your imagination run wild and be as creative as possible. Best of luck, and may the Force be with you all. Anyway, back to the video. The pink lightsaber seen in Legends was similar to the red lightsaber crystal. They were even rarer than regular kyber crystals and considerably more challenging to obtain. As far as we know, they could only be found in the eggs of the Kinrath, a Dantooine native animal. These lightsaber crystals would change colour based on the alignment of the Force user, much like in canon. While Kinrath eggs normally produced a blue or green crystal, they may also produce a yellow or pink saber on rare occasions. Unfortunately, the meaning of pink lightsabers has never been explicitly stated. However, to me, it's clear that pink represents a darker affiliation to the Force. That being said, this affiliation with the dark side was not as pronounced as red blades. After all, pink was used most famously by Mara Jade Skywalker, an individual who is ultimately good at heart but had fallen prey to Palpatine's dark influence. There is also the theory that Darth Vader's lightsaber is pinker when compared to Palpatine's and other Sith. Now of course, out of universe this is because of the different film techniques used between the originals and the prequels, but some have taken this as evidence that this is because Vader hadn't fully embraced the dark side and was still conflicted. Next up, we have purple. The true reason purple was invented, as we all know, was so that Samuel L. Jackson could stand out during the Battle of Geonosis. But in universe, purple represented a closer allegiance to the dark side than most other Jedi. Mace Windu was the most renowned holder of the purple lightsaber, which represented his more aggressive combat style. As many of you will know, Windu employed a Form 7 variant known as Vapad. I've described Vapad in a lot more detail over in this video exploring the various lightsaber forms. However, in brief, Vapad allowed the user to channel the dark side powers of their opponent and utilize their dark energies. This made it significantly more aggressive, and the wielder was always dangerously close to flirting with the dark side. It took a seriously strong-willed Jedi like Mace Windu to resist this temptation. In fact, the only other known user of Vapad, Jedi Master Sora Bulk, ended up falling to the dark side as he simply couldn't handle it. Of course, Windu was not the only individual to use a purple lightsaber. Revan also used a purple lightsaber at various points in his life. This again symbolized his affiliation with both the light and the dark. It is also worth noting the existence of magenta and indigo lightsabers. Unfortunately, there are no current known users of these colors, with it only being found as a playable option in Jedi Fallen Order. However, it is probably safe to assume that their meaning is probably similar to the amethyst purple used by Windu and Revan. Next up, we have blue, the most common lightsaber color. Within canon, the specific meaning and differences between green and blue is yet to be fully explored, although both were of course affiliated with the light side of the Force. However, in Legends, blue lightsabers were used by the Jedi Guardians, one of the three main schools of thought within the Jedi Order. Blue lightsaber users would concentrate on more physical aspects of the Force, such as Force push and Force-enhanced dueling. They would primarily use their Force capabilities to tackle threats throughout the galaxy, typically through physical force and violence if necessary. Blue lightsabers were the most popular lightsaber color at the time of the Clone Wars, arguably because the Jedi Order had become so militarized by this point in time. Another lightsaber color commonly found in the Jedi Order was of course green. Green lightsabers were usually designated for the most powerful wielders of the Force within the Order. Wielders of green sabers were known as consulars in Legends, and unlike the Jedi Guardians, they spent much more of their time pondering on the Force, hoping to eradicate the dark side by exploration of the Force rather than through physical violence. A Jedi consular's primary weapon was diplomacy and planning, yet they were nonetheless trained with a lightsaber up to and even above the level of a Jedi Guardian. Because of their great connection to the Force, they were typically more competent with a blade than a Jedi Guardian, since they could utilize the Force to accelerate their movements and intensify their attacks. Next up are turquoise and cyan lightsabers, which are possibly the rarest of all lightsaber colors. While the actual meaning of the colors is unknown, it is theorized they indicated a Force alignment halfway between a Jedi Guardian and a consular. Their scarcity is partly because of the high cost of turquoise lightsaber crystals. The Sunrider's Destiny lightsaber crystal was the first known method for obtaining a turquoise or teal blade. This crystal was one of a kind, and once tuned, it could only be used by its rightful owner. The rainbow gem is the second method of generating a turquoise blade. Rainbow gems were found solely on the planet Galanor, and were actually a type of silicon-based life. Jedi Knight Tenel Ka utilized several of these gems in her Rancor Tooth lightsaber hilt. It is said that each one of these gems cost the same as a Mon Calamari Star Cruiser, perhaps making this lightsaber one of the most valuable items in the entire galaxy. There was also another variant of blue lightsabers seen in the Clone Wars TV show, which likely had a similar meaning to turquoise or cyan. Terra Sanub utilized a cloudy blue lightsaber blade that almost appeared white. I couldn't find any official sources describing the exact meaning of this lightsaber color, but some secondary sources have put forward the idea that one's mind must be completely clear when harvesting this lightsaber crystal. This would suggest that cloudy blue is similar to turquoise or cyan, being somewhere between the Jedi Consular and Guardian school of thought. The Jedi Guardian and Consulars were the Jedi Order's primary schools of thought, but there was a third, known as the Jedi Sentinels. Their teachings diverged greatly from both other schools of thought. Sentinels concentrated on honing talents that were not often associated with the Jedi, taking on the practical aspects of the Jedi Guardians, but also the contemplative nature of the Consular. Interestingly, they also usually stayed away from the Jedi Temple, preferring to conduct their affairs within communities throughout the galaxy. Yellow lightsabers, however, were also employed by the Jedi Temple Guards, some of the most loyal Jedi in the Order. They were so dedicated to their work that it demanded that they have no emotional relationship or identity. Jedi Temple Guards, unlike other Jedi, did not venture out and harvest kyber crystals. Instead, prior Temple Guards would hand down yellow sabers to them, preventing them from developing attachments to even their own lightsaber. Jedi Sentinels and Temple Guards were not the only ones to use yellow lightsabers. The early Jedi often used yellow or orange-bladed proto-sabers, although the coloration may have been because lightsaber technology had not been refined at this point, and relied upon large batteries and other primitive technology. Yellow lightsabers were also used by the Eternal Empire. The Knights of Zakul, as their Force users were known, researched all areas of the Force. This was despite the fact that they were being covertly commanded by the Sith Emperor Vitiate. Although they researched and employed the dark side, members were encouraged to share their discoveries with the rest of the Order. This virtually never happened inside the Sith Empire, as each Sith was constantly trying to one-up the other by keeping secrets. Thus, the Knights of Zakul, like the Jedi Sentinels, put a high value on technical development, as well as exploration of Force abilities. The meaning of the yellow lightsaber, in my view, is the most perplexing, as it is used by some of the most loyal and dissident Jedi Order members. It was also used by the Eternal Empire and of course Rey Palpatine. I'd say yellow reflects those who are interested in various elements of the Force, while also having a comprehensive grasp of other abilities, such as the use of technology. Yellow is typically associated with a wielder's determination and commitment to study, whether that be about the Force or otherwise. Another similar lightsaber color is yellow-green. This color was most notably used by Ahsoka Tano during the Clone Wars. This rare lightsaber color is theorized to place a Force wielder's alignment somewhere between a Jedi Consular and a Jedi Sentinel. Thus, a wielder of this color may deeply respect the cosmic force as a Jedi Consular would. However, they may also be more inquisitive, much like a wielder of a yellow lightsaber, which I think suits the personality of Ahsoka Tano pretty well. Next up, we have white, another lightsaber color associated with Ahsoka. The white color was unlike many of the other colors seen in canon, as it was not chosen by the Kyber crystal, but rather through the healing of the Kyber. White was achieved by reversing the process of bleeding discussed earlier in the video. In this way, they would free the crystal from the dark side, changing the color to pure white. A Force wielder may choose to do this to signify their lack of affiliation with either the Jedi or the Sith. Some claim this is the lightsaber color of the Grey Jedi. However, as Ahsoka doesn't use the dark side, I believe that white still signifies the light side of the Force, only without any of the dogmatic teachings of the Jedi. Another lightsaber color we know very little about is black, seen only in the darksaber and lightsabers infected by the Blackwing virus. We know that the original owner of the darksaber, Tor Vizsla, was of course a Mandalorian, and was therefore much more warlike than his Jedi brethren. Many speculate that it was constructed using the dark side, or maybe even a combination of both the light and the dark. But thus far, we have not received an explanation of its meaning. As it is deeply connected to Mandalorian culture and religion, it seems likely that black represented a desire to achieve self-growth through war and destruction. After all, this was the core tenet of the Mandalorian religion. However, what sets the Mandalorians aside from the Sith was their honor, something the Sith never had. The penultimate lightsaber we will discuss today is brown. Bronze and brown lightsabers were some of the rarest in all of Star Wars, and their meaning is actually quite profound. A bronze saber was famously used by Lowbacker, one of the few known Wookiee Jedi. Brown was strongly associated with Ood Banar, a living tree who sacrificed himself to stop Exar Kun. Unsurprisingly, both Jedi were known for their deep connection to Mother Nature and desire for peace no matter what, with this being the proposed meaning of this extremely rare lightsaber color. Last of all, we have the orange lightsaber, the newest color in Star Wars canon thanks to the Jedi Fallen Order game. This lightsaber color was exceedingly rare in both Legends and canon timelines. In Legends, orange lightsabers represented those who sought peaceful resolutions to conflict, much like the Jedi with green lightsabers. However, like the yellow lightsaber-wielding Jedi Sentinels, they spent much more time on the front lines of conflict, seeking to bring balance and peace through negotiation and people skills, rather than through meditating on the Force. So now we've explored all of the known lightsaber colors and their meanings, we will now begin the quiz. You will need a pen and paper to write down your score for each question. I'll first state the question, and then after I will display the corresponding number next to each answer. Make sure to write the number down so you don't forget. We will be adding up your scores at the end to determine which lightsaber color suits your personality. Once you've completed the quiz, make sure to comment your lightsaber color down below so everyone can compare. Okay, you ready? Let's begin. You are a commander in the GIR. After a long and drawn-out battle, the Separatist fleet has surrendered. They claim to have orphan younglings on board. Do you A. use their surrender to your advantage and obliterate their fleet? B. Sell all of their booty for credits on the black market? C. You accept their surrender. Bloodshed and violence must be avoided at all costs. D. You don't accept their surrender. You destroy all the droids and then rescue the younglings and return them to their families. E. You cautiously accept their surrender. However, for good measure, you board their ship to ensure an unconditional surrender. F. You accept their surrender and use the captured CIS technology for future battles. G. You meditate on the Force and allow it to guide you. H. You accept their surrender and use their ships as bargaining tools to get concessions from the CIS. And just a reminder, remember to write down the number next to the answer you chose. Question 2. The Clone Wars has begun. You are a member of the Jedi Order and have been asked to lead the clones into battle. Do you A. Disavow both the Republic and the Separatists? There's money to be made during times of war. B. You refuse to fight in the war. War only leads to destruction and death. C. You embrace the war. It's time for the Jedi to kick some Sith butts. D. Get on the first ship to Sereno. You believe Count Dooku is right about the Republic and the Jedi. Becoming his apprentice is the best option for you. E. You leave the Jedi Order. Although you hate the Sith, you devote your life to protecting the innocence of the galaxy during this turbulent period. F. You remain in the Jedi Order and aim to help as many civilians as possible. You hate the war, but you believe it's necessary to defeat the Sith. G. You believe it's your duty to defeat the Sith. However, you realize you must not deviate from your Jedi teachings. H. You are conflicted. You believe the Sith are evil and must be defeated, but also realize the corrupting influence of war and the Republic's own failures. I. You refuse to fight in the war. You push for peace and negotiations as soon as possible. Question 3. You are confronted by none other than Count Dooku himself. What do you do? A. Ask to become his apprentice. B. Use the dark side of the Force to kill him. C. Make a mutually beneficial alliance with him. D. Use the light side of the Force to kill him. E. You fight him, but only if you have to. F. You refuse to fight. Bloodshed is never necessary. G. You try and outwit him. H. You try and negotiate with him. I. You seek the Force for guidance. Question 4. Your mother has been captured by the Sand People on Tatooine. What do you do? A. Kill all of their warriors, but you leave the women and children. B. Slaughter their whole tribe like animals. C. You use the full extent of the Force to save your mother. You use both the dark and the light side to kill anyone in your path. D. You try everything to avoid bloodshed. E. You use light side Force abilities to kill any armed Tusken Raider. F. You ask the Force for guidance. G. You try and outwit the Tuskens, avoiding casualties if you can. H. You negotiate with the Tuskens. Question 5. A pirate offers you a crate of spice in exchange for your lightsaber. What do you do? A. You force him into an alliance and take over his spice operations. B. Kill him for dishonoring you. C. Kill him and all involved in this exploitative operation. D. You arrest him. You kill him only if he starts attacking you. E. You arrest him. You only kill him if he threatens innocent people. F. You walk away from the situation. The spice trade is immoral, but violence is just as bad. G. You try and outsmart the pirate. H. You try and negotiate with him to get a better deal. I. You use the Force to try and mind trick the pirate. Question 6. The Empire has just unveiled its new Death Star and has destroyed Alderaan. Do you A. Join the Empire? This show of might is awe-inspiring. B. You use any means necessary to destroy the Death Star, even if this involves the death of civilians. C. You become a bounty hunter for the Empire. They clearly have a lot of credits. D. You work with the rebels but refuse to join them. You work independently to try and destroy the station. E. You go and live on an outer rim world and avoid all war. F. You use your knowledge of droids to implant a virus into the Death Star data core. G. You become a Jedi and join the Rebel Alliance. You lead an attack on the Death Star but do not agree with violence against civilians. H. You try and turn Darth Vader back to the light side. I. You try and negotiate with the Empire. Question 7. You see Mace Windu locked in a battle with Palpatine. What do you do? A. Help whoever is willing to pay you the highest amount of credits. B. Force choke Palpatine. C. You join Windu. You kill Palpatine using the full force of the light side. D. Kill Mace Windu. You need the Sith alive so he can teach you the ways of the dark side. E. You use your brains to outsmart Palpatine. F. You walk away. You will not be responsible for any deaths today. G. You meditate on the Force. H. You join Windu. However, you would rather not kill Palpatine. I. You try and negotiate with both Windu and Palpatine. What is your favourite Force power? A. Force lightning. B. Shatterpoint, the ability to use weaknesses within an object to destroy it and opponents. C. Force choke. D. Increased athleticism. E. Force-powered technology. F. Force empathy. You can use this to experience and understand others' emotions. G. Force ghost. H. Flow walking. The ability to see the past and the future. I. Jedi mind trick. And finally, we have our last question. Which lightsaber fighting form is your favourite? A. Juyo, the most aggressive lightsaber form. B. Vapad, a lightsaber form that uses an opponent's dark energies to your advantage. C. Makashi, a lightsaber form optimized for precision. D. Ataru, the most acrobatic fighting form. E. Sorisu, the most defensive lightsaber form. F. Shicho, the most basic and ancient of all the lightsaber forms. G. Demso, a lightsaber form that perfectly balances defense with offense. H. Nimon, the perfect blend of all the other lightsaber forms. All you have to do now is add up all of your scores. Okay, you done that? Alright, now for the results. If you scored between 9 and 14, the lightsaber colour that suits you best is likely red. You're in it for yourself and are not afraid to hurt others if they get in your way. If you got between 15 and 17, pink likely suits you best. You are pretty engrossed in the dark side, but there is a hint of light left in you. If you score between 18 and 26, black is the lightsaber colour for you. You're in it for yourself, but you still have some honour. You're entrepreneurial and won't let others get between you and more credits. If you got a score between 27 and 35, purple suits you best. You're a good guy at heart, but you struggle with darker emotions. If you score between 36 and 42, you are a Jedi Guardian and wield a blue lightsaber. You will use violence, but only in the service of a greater good. If you score between 43 and 44, congratulations. You are one of the very few who can utilize a turquoise or cyan saber. You still use violence if necessary, but you are guided by the wisdom of the Force more than most Jedi Guardians. If you scored between 45 and 53, white likely suits you best. You are still kind-hearted and have a burning desire to fight for justice. However, you also believe in freedom and are not easily swayed by the dogma of the Jedi Order. If you got between 53 and 62, yellow is your lightsaber colour. You will use violence to fight if required, but the thirst for knowledge is more important to you. You outwit your enemies by learning about all aspects of life, from the Force to advanced technology. If your total score is between 64 and 71, then green is your colour. You are wise and understand that the Force always knows best. If you scored between 72 and 76, orange is your colour. You strive for diplomacy and negotiation in all conflict. Peace is always your objective. If you score between 77 and 78, you're one of the few Force wielders to use a brown lightsaber. You always turn the other cheek no matter what. You love peace and nature. War is never an option. Alright everyone, that's all for today. I hope you enjoyed the quiz and learned something about lightsaber colours. Make sure to comment which lightsaber colour you got down below. And while you're at it, enter the lightsaber giveaway by describing your ideal lightsaber design. Set me a like, subscribe, and if you want to find out more about lightsaber designs and lightsaber crystals, then check out these end screens. Thanks for watching guys, and as always, may the Force be with you.